slash waiting.
Well, they got you all with
I know they got you, but yeah, I'm totally okay without doing that.
No. No. Yeah, I'm like totally cool with that because I would throw it up all over you.
Yeah, you won't throw up on me because you won't catch me on that crazy thing. No. N-O spells no. That is so cool.
Yeah, the go-kart tracks in Hot Springs suck.
I know.
Compared to these, man.
I know.
I mean, dude, look at that one that flat one with the tongue.
I know, right?
And them. I mean, come on.
I know. Okay, is he fixing to take off? I can't tell. Well, they're moving the platform away, so I don't know what that means. Did you manage to get me where I can't see it?
I think they're done.
No, they just moved the platform. Yeah, they're drawing it back.
Well, I got nobody coming on this.
Okay. There they are. I found them. There they go.
They go way up there.
Yeah, no, it's figment of imagination.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. And they're finna let them go. It's Superman! It'd be great if we weren't in the car with the dirty windshield.
She's so loud.
The volume, the sheer volume of voices in this room. Oh my. Yay.
Roughly 75 years old, weighs in the ballpark about 300 pounds.
Is an eel in here? Really active over there now. They're feeding them. The big ones got out the bottom. Oh my goodness. thick dot on its back. Neck.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Leather cold.
He's playing peekaboo with me.
This door. Real pretty blue.
There she is. Look. Oh my goodness. What a bright, beautiful blue. Oh. There's another one.
Step on them on accident.
He's calm. He has no rattles going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 11.
Hi. Who's pretty? Is it you? Is it you? Are you the pretty bird? Are you? Yes, ma'am. Yes, you are the pretty bird. Who's the pretty baby? Is it you? Yes, it's you. Oh my goodness. So pretty. Yes. Lovely. Yeah, I see you. I see you. Yes, I see you. You are a lovely, lovely bird. Yes, I see you. Doing your little dance? Is that your little dance? Okay. All right. Yep. You got it, boo. You got it. You got it. Jam on. Yes, look at the babies. Y'all are beautiful. Yes, you're beautiful. Yes, you are. You are so pretty. I know. Are you excited? You're excited to see people? Yeah? Lots of people.
Hey.
Oh, cool. He said, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. I'm sorry I have no food for you because I would surely feed you. Maybe they'll bite the mess out of you. Alberto. Alberto.
That is.
A dinosaur. Hi, sweetie.
That is a dinosaur.
You surely have a beautiful face. You surely do.
That is a dinosaur.
You have beautiful eyelashes.
You are a dinosaur. You know that? And we are just.
In awe of
This is your
beauty.
land.
Actually, I don't think they're actually indigenous.
Everybody been in caves before?
No.
Oh yeah.
Got some yes, got some no. What do you guys know?
No.
Alright. Where you been?
Blanchard.
Blanchard? How is it? I hear a lot of good things about it.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
I need to take a
Breathtaking.
trip. I get jealous. A lot of people come in here and see some pretty good ones. So
Yeah, we're going day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blanchard.
Blanchard again.
Yeah.
How far away is that one? Is that one?
It's just right down the road actually. It's in Arkansas, but
Is it
it's
really?
it's close to Mountain View.
Huh. I don't know. I thought it was farther away.
No, you could probably get there in an
It's
hour
not-
anyway.
That's right.
What about you guys over here?
We've just been to Fantastic Caverns before, but we've never
That's a
been
good
here.
one. Only 4 of them in the world that you can drive through.
That's right.
That's what makes that one pretty special.
Underwater in Palawan.
Where?
In Palawan, it's part of the 7 wonders of the world.
Oh, that'd be cool. Now I'm really jealous.
Yeah.
There's one, I can't remember where it was at. We were watching that thing on it the other day, but it's some kind of sort of Mayan cave. You know, it's pretty neat. They're still uncovering passage to it, but it's an underwater diving cave. It's insane. What about you guys back here? None? Alright, well this is a pretty good first one to get into. It gives you a little bit of everything in there. We won't be crawling or anything, you don't have to worry about that, but it gives you a little bit of the formation, a little bit of a drop. So, before we get going, I'll go over some of the history up here. You guys can kind of follow along. I'll just go a little bit more in detail, but we will start way back over here in 1883. Now that is when the cave was first discovered. Legend has it a couple boys around here. They were hunting, followed a rabbit underneath the ledgestone. Now they ended up picking it up. All they did find was a hole. So not wanting to just go jumping in there, they ended up taking a couple rocks, throwing them off down in the hole, trying to see how far it did go down. Took a little bit longer than expected. They got a little bit nervous, ran back into town, told just a few people. Now during the 1800s, most people were working just a little too hard, really didn't have time to come out here and mess with it. Also, tourism didn't take off till about 1920. So there wasn't really a whole lot of purpose in coming out here for it. So no one really messed with it at that time. About 10 years later, family moved out here, homesteaded the property by the name of the Irwins. Now, they weren't necessarily looking for it. One of their sons, Arthur Irwin, he found it completely on accident while he was cattle driving. Didn't have any cave experience. Did know 2 guys that did. That was Truman Powell and Waldo Powell. That's a father and son. They were actually just working north of here in a town called Galena, right in their local newspaper. On the side, they had been in about 100 caves at that time. So they ended up coming out here in 1896. If you look right up here, this is what they ended up using to go inside the cave. So this right here is called a windlass. You basically take your rope, throw it to a pulley system, tie it to the old oak branch. Now you'd sit right here on the middle of the oak branch, and a few of your buddies would lower you down into the cave. You gotta have some good friends, right?
Yeah.
Now they were going down using candlelight. They didn't get to see a whole lot while they were down there. Mostly just a little bit of formation. Now when they came back up, Truman was pretty excited. He actually wanted to purchase the property. Now after they told the Irwins what was down there, they didn't quite want to get rid of it at the time. Did have to persuade them for quite a while. Early 1900s, they did end up purchasing the property from the Irwins. Now that took just a little bit longer. They also wanted to open it up to the public. Couldn't do that for quite a while. Like I said, 1920 is whenever that did start to happen around here. So between that time, they were showing basically family, friends, locals. Now later on in 1921, they did open it up as Ferry Cave. First time it was opened up to the public. Now they were still doing windlass tours at the time. Take one person down at a time, using candlelight and lanterns. Now in 1922, they ended up trying to make it a little bit better. Put in some stepways and put on their first building. Kind of step out of your guys' way right here. That's the first building right up here in this picture. Basically just a stone shack, had a door and a window on it. Sell tickets right out that window, walk them in right through that doorway. Now this is actually all the original stone to that shack. This window behind me is the same window. That doorway we're going through is that same doorway. Now these were the stepways in 1922. Definitely OSHA approved.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, with the wooden stepways, they didn't last too long, honestly. It does get pretty wet down in the cave. It stays pretty wet all year round. Also stays pretty humid. So these would rot pretty fast. Only took them just about 5-6 years. 1927, they ended up getting tired of going down there and fixing them. Ended up trying to move them all out. Went down there with dry buckets of concrete mix. Ended up damming up our cave pool. Let it fill up a little bit. Started mixing our concrete with our cave pool water. Started pouring down there at the bottom, one bucket at a time. Worked the way all the way back up 100 feet. Now those are the same walkways we're going to be on today. They're about 89, 90 years old. Most people get a little bit sketched out about that. Down there in our environment, that concrete actually hardened about 4 times harder than it would up here on the surface. It is constantly about 65 degrees in there, pretty humid, so it would cure a lot harder. It did take a lot longer, but it cures harder. Now in the 30s, they did add on just a little bit more to their building. Had an upstairs on it. That was a little artifact museum at the time. Down here was their pre-show room, which is exactly where we're sitting right now. These posts right here are those posts right over here. Now the gig was a little bit different at the time. You'd actually come in, pay $2. $1 would get you a chicken dinner. The other $1 would get you a cave tour.
Okay.
Prices have changed since then.
Love that. Love that. Yeah.
Now they kept the family ran for quite a while. Ended up, Waldo's son Walker Powell ended up inheriting the cave. He kept it just a little bit longer. But over here in 1969, they ended up selling it to Silver Dollar City. Now they wanted to make it a little bit more of a show. Didn't quite know what they were going to do for their theme. Actually ended up going back, reading some what Truman and Waldo wrote about the cave. Now they said it spoke to them visually. Now what they meant is they could study the rocks, see how they grow. Also kind of how you look at clouds, go out and make figures out of the clouds. They do the same thing with cave formations. This one right here, we're actually going to see it when we get in the cave. They said it looked like a fairy or an angel. Now, Silver Dollar City took that idea just a little bit more literal. Ended up taking these speakers down the cave, put these rocks with faces right in front of them. Now they take you all down there, lights would turn off, thunder would start booming in the cave. Now these would come on with a very deep voice, basically explain how the cave was created. Now it didn't quite work out as planned, ended up scaring a lot of people right back up out of the cave. So those only lasted about 5 to 6 years, then they got replaced with tour guides. Alright, so I'm going to go over that board just a little bit before we take off. We are going to be down there about 50, 60 minutes. There are 265 steps. We're going down 150, coming back up 115. Going to stop about 7-8 times throughout the cave. Don't touch or break any formations. Kind of an exception to touching them. There's a few parts down there. Kind of a good example, that picture I brought around to the stepways. That's actually our largest formation. Now inside of it, it does have a little room that we're going to be walking through. It's only about the size of an elevator. So the entrance and exit to that little room get a little bit narrow. Your footing gets a little bit awkward. We allow you guys to use the walls right there. So other than that, there's a couple of tight spots where we'll kind of go through like that, but we'll be in and out of them pretty fast. No food, drink, or tobacco products are allowed in the cave. Water is the only thing we do allow. Other than that, we do have a few health warnings before we go. It is not suggested if you have heart or breathing problems, have had recent surgery or illness, muscle or bone problems, fear of heights, claustrophobia, or are pregnant. Does anybody have any questions, concerns? Everybody good? Everybody ready to go? You joining us? Yep. All right. So about 12 steps down, there is a little bit of a ledgestone sticking out. Just make sure not to hit your guys' head on that. Last person in, whoever that may be, please shut this wooden door behind you as we go in. Everybody ready?